Well, I love football for many reasons, and one of the biggest things I love about football is, and I know people go crazy for, the Patrick Mahomes and the Russell Wilsons and the Tom Brady's and the offense and I'm a Steeler fan, so Ben Roethlisberger, all those things seem to make everybody happy. How many points can we score? But to me, there is no better battle on the field than what happens on the defensive side of the football. I mean, to me, that is where the next champions are going to be made. You're going to be facing some of the most innovative offenses that the world has ever seen over the next 5 or 6 years, and it's going to take equal innovation, talent, and athleticism to be able to stop those offenses on the defensive side of the football. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to be able to invest in those players, to bring in the best players and invest in those players. Now, how do you stop these prolific pass offenses? How do you stop these guys from being able to throw the ball the way they do? Well, one of the ways you can do it is to be able to rush the quarterback, and that comes directly from your defensive line. So today, we're going to be talking about defense. That's right. We're going to be talking about defensive lines and how much money each one of these guys make. We're going to talk about the top 10 guys in 2020 and what their actual salaries are in a breakdown in just a second. Right now, though, I just want to tell everybody, hey, thanks so much for watching. We're brand new to YouTube. We've been doing a podcast for a while, but we're brand new to YouTube. If you're watching this video, if you found us somehow inside this magical YouTube algorithm, smash the like button. Make sure we know you're here. If you enjoy the content, subscribe so you can see more of what we do. Also, guys, I got to tell you something. A little bit about me. They call me the sports trader. My name is John Todora. A few years ago, I sold my businesses, and I just took a walk, man. I took a walkabout and decided I'm going to make a brand new life for myself. And I did by learning how to trade sports the same way people trade stocks. If you want to learn more about my adventure and what it is I've created along the way, you can go to sportstradingsystems.com. You can go over there. You can there's a newsletter that I send out. I cover a couple thousand people on the newsletter. I send that out a couple times a week. It's educational content that is absolutely 100% free. I don't send it any spam or anything like that. I just send educational content teaching you about sports trading and about the things that I do along the way. Also, I wrote a book. If you guys want to check it out, the book is on the website. You can check it out. It's a great book. It teaches you all about the stuff that I do. I'll talk a little more about that later on in this segment. But right now, let's talk about the highest paid defensive lineman in football. Now, before we go any further, I want you to think about this. If you're watching this, I want you to think about it. Can you guess who the number one guy is? I mean, who should be the number one guy? Because I tell you, there's a new number one guy coming. Myles Garrett was just offered a contract for $25 million from the Cleveland Browns per year. So he would be number one on the list. That would be the new number one. And listen, Myles Garrett is aside from last year's complete and utter explosion of embarrassment for himself, he is an absolute monster on the football field. He is unblockable. In that same game that he had that outburst of craziness against the Steelers, I watched that game, and that kid almost won that game himself. He was unblockable. He was a monster, absolutely monster, and he deserves everything he can get. Let's see if $25 million matches up with what some of these other guys are getting, though. So I got a top 10 on, if you guys are listening on the podcast, you can't see this, but I'll try to walk you through it. For those of you watching at home on YouTube, you can see the graphic that somebody created here. We got a top 10, it's actually the top 9, defensive linemen and their salaries for 2020. Now, it's only top 9 because there's like 4 guys tied at 9, so we just made those the top 10. But there are 4 guys tied at number 9 for $17 million this year. That's $17 million this year in salary, which is huge, actually. That's a lot of money to make in 1 year. Fletcher Cox comes in at number 8, $17.1 million. If you've ever watched Fletcher Cox play, Fletcher Cox, in my opinion, is probably the second best defensive tackle in football. That guy is an absolute monster. They're going to pair him this year. With the kid that they just took away from us in Pittsburgh, and that Eagles defense is going to be outstanding. I'm telling you, people don't know what they got. They don't know what they got in the kid they got from Pittsburgh. They have no idea that how good he is and how they're going to put him next to Fletcher Cox. And they got a new secondary. That defensive in Philadelphia is going to be outstanding. People are not giving them enough credit. Let's go to number 7, Cameron Jordan, who's always a great player, all-around great player, great against the run, great against the pass, $17.5 million. Jaguars, this guy whose name I can never say, Yannick, he doesn't even. He's getting 17. This is how bad Jacksonville is. He's getting $17.8 million this year, and he wants out. He's said, listen, do me a favor and just trade me the heck out of here. This $17 million you want to give me, nothing is worth staying here. $17 million and he wants out. That's crazy to me. We'll talk about that more later on. Trey Flowers. This is one of those things. I'm a coach. I used to coach. I used to be with New England. I used to be a New England assistant coach. New England's free agents become available. Bill Belichick has already basically said with his actions that they're not worth the amount of money that they're asking for. And as an assistant coach, I decide that they are. So Trey Flowers last year signed a $18 million a year contract with the Detroit Lions to be a slightly above average player. That's insane to me. Frank Clark is getting $20.8 million, almost $21 million in just a base salary this year. Also, absolutely, positively insane considering he's not even the best defensive lineman on his team. That's what's crazy. This year, the 49ers made a huge trade. And the number 3 guy on our list, DeForest Buckner, was actually a defensive tackle for the Niners last year. Part of that front four that was absolutely massive in what they did as far as changing the culture in San Francisco. But he got traded for, I think, the 13th overall pick this year, and the Colts immediately signed him to a deal that's worth, I think, $80 million. So, or $84 million or something. I don't know, something like that. But he's going to make $21 million this year, which is just an insane amount of money. Demarcus Lawrence has been fantastic for the Dallas Cowboys, coming off the edge at $21 million. And the guy who absolutely positively deserves this money. I wish this kid was on our team. I got to tell you that. It was a blast to watch him play at the University of Pittsburgh. And people said he was too small. They said he wasn't going to make it in the NFL. He lasted until the mid-20s to get chosen by the Los Angeles Rams. Might be one of the best picks they've ever made in their entire lives. Aaron Donald is a man among men. He is the best, without a doubt, to me. If they give Myles Garrett $25 million, they got to change his contract. They got to change Aaron Donald's contract to be $25 million and $1, just to say you're still the best guy in football. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Show me the money. That's the defense, man. Throughout this whole offseason, we'll be talking about who makes money, who doesn't. I love the analytics of football. I love the data of the game. So that's some of the things we'll be talking about here, as well as my own opinion about stupid things along the way. My name is John Todora. I am the sports guy. Again, I invite you to check out my website, which is sportstradingsystems.com. Go check it out. And by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, smash the like button. Smash the like button. Make it happen. Thanks a lot.